Another death has been reported in the Vyapam scam. A trainee sub-inspector has committed suicide in the Sagar Police Academy. The cop Anamika Kushwaha was recruited through Vyapam and was from Morena district. She jumped in a pond in the morning around 5 a.m. She joined in the February 15 investigation after appearing for the police SI exam conducted by Vyapam. An investigation has been ordered in this particular case. We've got Rahul Kamal, TV Today Network's managing editor, joining us on the phone line. Rahul, what more details do we have?
Details as of now are sketchy, honestly, Sanket, but what we've been able to gather is that there's a trainee sub-inspector, her name is Anamika Kushwaha, at early in the morning. What is being reported just at this time is that she apparently jumped into a pool and committed suicide. Now, whether that is the truth or not is not known completely. Obviously, it's highly suspicious given that this happens at 4 o'clock early in the morning. It happens in a swimming pool. It happens in Sagar, and yet again, the girl is related to Vyapam. Now, on 3 days, Sanket, there have been 3 successive incidents. We are in Bhopal at this time, and if you see the morning newspapers, there's wallpaper coverage of Vyapam. And the one question, Sanket, that's being asked again and again across every single newspaper is, why is the Madhya Pradesh government reluctant on handing this case over to the CBI? We've been speaking to constitutional lawyers, we've been speaking to former home ministers, former finance ministers, we've been speaking to a multitude of experts, and they're all saying that all that Shivraj Singh Chauhan needs to do is go to the Chief Justice of the High Court, tell him that we don't have a problem in transferring this case to the CBI, write immediately to the Ministry of Home Affairs and have this entire investigation transferred. Clearly, everything that the SIT and the STF are doing is not producing results. People are still dying in mysterious circumstances, and credibility of the government and credibility of the infrastructure of the investigation is at a low at this time, and that's the only way possibly of the government trying to find a way out of this at this time.
That's right, Rahul. We have got Anup Datta also joining us with all the latest from Bhopal. Now, Anup, what more details do we have about this particular death? Because this is the third death in, close to 48 hours.
Yeah, this is certainly a very shocking incident, but what the police is right now is saying that the girl basically jumped into a pond, but this sounds very suspicious that how a trainee candidate who was undergoing a training for the past almost 4 or 5 months, she suddenly came out from a room and went to a pond, nearby pond. How the police can justify simply by saying that basically she committed suicide? Because it's a very preliminary report what the police is giving it to us.
That's right, Anup. Now, Rahul, questions are going to be asked of the Chief Minister, of Mr. Kailash Vijayvargiya, of all the others as far as this particular case too is concerned, because this is the third death, as you have been pointing out, in 48 hours. A trainee sub-inspector has committed suicide, according to the police, inside the Sagar Police Academy, and she too was in some way linked to Vyapam. The exam for police SI, which she had actually undertaken, was conducted by Vyapam.
And that's right. And what we also know, Sanket, is that some of the crucial whistleblowers and eyewitnesses in this case have now been complaining that there is a serious threat to their life. In fact, 2 of them have written letters demanding that their security be immediately increased and that they're not satisfied with the kind of security that has been given to them. And that, again, is something which the Chief Minister needs to deal with, because there is a sense of fear, there is a sense of paranoia because of these successive deaths, and these whistleblowers especially, and the witnesses are now fearing for their life. And the question is, will the police now, will the state government order the police to increase the level of security available? I spoke to Ashish Chaturvedi. He's gone to the cops. He's saying that he has a SPO who's been given to him, but that is not enough. He's heard people. He's complained that he's overheard people saying that he would be cut to pieces. He's very worried. He says this person is alleging that there have been 14 incidents on him where attacks have taken place. He survived some of those, and he's saying that he wants security to be enhanced. So there's a very real fear amongst witnesses, very real fear amongst whistleblowers, and they want their security to be increased.
That's right. Rahul Kamal, many thanks for joining us at this moment. We also have Javed Ansari joining us. Javed, another death in the Vyapam scam that has been reported. Clearly, as far as the Madhya Pradesh government is concerned, there is death after death that is being reported under mysterious circumstances, and pressure building to actually hand over this particular probe to a neutral agency or an agency which is outside the control of the state government.
Well, indeed it is, and all this is, these things are not happening in isolation, and Shivraj Singh Chauhan cannot insulate himself from what is happening. It's only in the fitness of things that this probe is now handed over to an independent agency. Perhaps let the center probe this so that everything appears to be above board. We are not saying who is guilty or not, but just you not only need to do the right thing, but you must seem as been doing the right thing, and therefore this should be handed over to a central agency and let them probe it.
Absolutely. Javed Ansari, many thanks for joining us. Rajdeep Sardesai also joins us. Rajdeep, another death, related to Vyapam has in fact been reported. This is the third in 48 hours.
Yes, but Sanket, I think we need to be cautious before we link every death that occurs to Vyapam. In this particular instance, the sub-inspector had been recruited through Vyapam. But to suggest that her suicide is directly linked to Vyapam, I think would be stretching it. The fact, though, is that several deaths have taken place in suspicious circumstances. And since this has been happening over an extended period of time, it deserves an inquiry that perhaps even goes beyond the state police force, which is, yes, operating under the Madhya Pradesh High Court, but ultimately is comprised of police officers from the state itself. So therefore, to ensure and give the impression that this is truly an impartial, independent inquiry, it may be in the fitness of things that the officers inquiring it are not just from Madhya Pradesh itself, which is why perhaps the time has come, and this can only perhaps come through Supreme Court direction, that there be a Supreme Court appointed SIT that investigate this matter, and not just an STF which is recruited from the state cadres itself. When I asked Shivraj Singh Chauhan this, Sanket, he says, I have no objections to it. Let the court give me directions and I will do it. So I think that is the direction in which this entire matter needs to go. Otherwise, there will be a sense that the Madhya Pradesh government has something to hide. And I think that would be extremely unfortunate, and that would put Mr. Shivraj Singh Chauhan in an extremely embarrassing position. So it is in his own, he himself should now recognize the need, and he seems to be recognizing the need, that the only way in which he can prove that he has nothing to hide is to allow this to now become a Supreme Court monitored SIT investigation.
Okay. Rajdeep Sardesai, many thanks for joining us at this moment. So Rajdeep saying he spoke to Shivraj Singh Chauhan, who said that he has no problems handing this investigation over to a court-monitored SIT. It's perhaps, as Rajdeep suggests, about time, considering the fact that there is a lot of speculation, there is a lot of questions that need answers at this moment as far as the Vyapam case is concerned. However, we here at India Today are making this distinction very clear that in this particular case, this appears to be a case of suicide in the Sagar Police Academy of cop Anamika Kushwaha, who was recruited through Vyapam. So there is no direct link as far as her knowing anything related to this particular scam is concerned. But let's get in a word from Mr. Tom Vadakan of the Congress Party. Mr. Vadakan, another death that has in fact been reported. However, no direct correlation or no direct relation can be made at this present point in time, because that will be the job of the investigating agencies. What really is the view of the Congress?
Sanket, this is getting worse than an Alfred Hitchcock's horror story. Every day we are hearing of death. You connect it or disconnect it. Take it as you want. But the ground reality is people are dropping like dead leaves. This is a sad day that this country has to see this kind of a scam. This is not about money. This is about life. And I think it needs to be investigated by nothing short of the Supreme Court and in a separate independent SIT.
So you are basically demanding that there has to be a separate independent SIT. The Madhya Pradesh Chief Minister has in fact spoken to India Today, where he says that he has no objections if the court asks him to do so.
It is for him to ask the court and not in the reversed order. It is for him to take the initiative in asking for a CBI probe or at least a Supreme Court monitored SIT.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Vadakkan, many thanks for joining us here at India Today.